I never thought my own mother would look me in the eye and declare me an imposter in front of the entire family. Her voice slicing through the crystal clink of champagne flutes like a knife through flesh.
Vivian?
You're no daughter of mine. You stole that face. That life. And you sure as hell don't deserve the seat at my table. What came next wasn't a slap or a scream. It was me, rising slow as a storm cloud, picking up the antique silver candelabra and smashing it straight into the heart of her empire, the flames licking the damask tablecloth as if hell itself had RSVP'd to dinner. That night in our Upper East Side brownstone, with the scent of roasted lamb and betrayal hanging thick in the air, I uncovered the swap, the body theft that had turned my world inside out. But revenge? It started with a single, unthinkable decision. I'd burn it all down, starting with the woman who birthed me and the monster she let wear my skin. The chandelier above us dripped light like melting wax, casting fractured halos on the faces of aunts, uncles, and cousins who'd flown in from Dallas and LA for what was supposed to be a celebration. My 20th birthday. Or, at least, that's what the engraved invitation said. Evelyn Harper, my mother, the iron-fisted CEO of Harper Dynamics, a biotech behemoth that peddled everything from gene therapies to experimental neural implants, had spared no expense. The table groaned under foie gras, heirloom tomatoes drizzled in balsamic that probably cost more than my old apartment's rent, and a cake towering like a wedding veil, iced with, to Vivian, heir apparent. Heir apparent. The word still tasted like ash. I'd clawed my way up in her shadow, starting as an intern in the labs, crunching data on CRISPR edits while she glad-handed senators in D.C. I'd earned my corner office, my name on the patents,
My spot at this table.
but as the toasts dragged on, Uncle Ted droning about family legacy, Cousin Lila snapping selfies for her Insta feed, Evelyn's eyes had fixed on me with that predator's gleam she reserved for boardroom sharks. Vivian, she'd purred earlier, over caviar blinis in the kitchen, her Botox-smooth forehead creasing just enough to pass for concern. You've been
Distant.
like you're not all here. I'd laughed it off, blamed jet lag from the Singapore conference.
But now,
As the servers cleared the mains and the string quartet in the corner struck up some Vivaldi knockoff, she leaned forward, her diamond tennis bracelet catching the light like a noose. The room hushed when she stood, glass in hand. A toast, she said, voice honey over gravel, the kind that sealed multimillion-dollar deals. To family,
to blood.
to knowing exactly who sits at your table. Her gaze locked on mine, and the air thickened, electric with something unspoken.
Then,
Casual as swatting a fly, she pointed right at me, her manicured nail a scarlet arrow. And to Vivian, or whatever's left of her, you don't belong here. You stole that seat, that face, pretending to be my daughter.
get out.
Gasps rippled like aftershocks. Lila's phone clattered to the floor. Uncle Ted choked on his Merlot. I sat there, fork midway to my mouth, a bite of rack of lamb turning to lead in my throat. Stole? Pretending? My heart hammered, a bass drum in my ribs. As Evelyn's lips curled, not a smile, but a baring of teeth. Don't look so shocked, darling.
We all see it now.
The glitches. The way you flinch at old memories, like they're not yours. You're not her. You're the copy. The mistake. The quartet faltered, strings screeching to a halt. Chairs scraped as relatives shifted, eyes darting between us like we were the main event at a gladiatorial throwdown. Mom, Evelyn, didn't blink. She never did. At 58, she was a force, 5'10" in Louboutins, silver-streaked bob sharp as a guillotine. The woman who'd built Harper Dynamics from a garage startup into a Wall Street darling. She'd clawed her way up from a trailer park in Jersey, outsmarting Ivy League frat boys and SEC investigators alike. Betrayal? It was her love language. But this was nuclear. I pushed back my chair, the legs screeching on marble like a death rattle. What the hell are you talking about? My voice cracked. Too high. Too raw, not the polished timbre I'd honed for investor calls. The room spun, faces blurring into a watercolor of confusion and pity. Lila whispered, "Is she drunk?" Uncle Ted muttered about one of those episodes. Evelyn laughed, low and throaty, the sound that used to terrify me as a kid when she'd lock herself in the study after Dad's accident.
Oh,
Sweetie. The swap. Do you think I didn't notice? The neural echoes. The lag in your responses.
Dr.
Kessler's little project worked too well, until it didn't. She waved a hand, dismissive, as if discussing a faulty prototype. You were supposed to be the upgrade. My second chance. But you're glitching. Vivian 2.0. And glitches get debugged. Swap. The word hit like a taser, jolting memories I'd buried under deadlines and denial. It had started 6 months ago, after the whistleblower leak. Harper Dynamics' Black Budget Division, neural mapping, consciousness transfer tech poached from DARPA scraps. Officially, it was for Alzheimer's patients. Upload the mind, download it into a clone neural net. Unofficially, Evelyn's pet project, immortality hacks for the 1%. She'd pitched it to me in her office. Eyes fever bright.
Imagine. Viv.
No more aging. No more mistakes. We could be eternal. I'd said yes because it was her dream. Because I owed her for the Ivy League tuition, the trust fund, the way she'd pulled strings to bury Dad's DUI that killed him and his mistress on that rainy Taconic Parkway night. I'd been the lab rat, volunteering for the beta, a full cortical scan, just to map my neural pathways. Non-invasive, she'd promised. Like an MRI on steroids. But then the alarms. The blackout. The headache that lingered for weeks like a hangover from hell. Waking up. Different. Sharper. Somehow. Hungrier. I'd aced the board meeting the next day. Closed a deal with a Saudi prince that had Wall Street buzzing. Evelyn called it enhance. I called it luck. Until the dream started. Not mine, but hers. Boardroom battles from the 90s. The sting of Dad's betrayal. The cold sterility of a lab in New Jersey where she'd signed away her soul for stock options.
Now.
Staring at her across the wreckage of my birthday. It clicked. The swap wasn't a beta test. It was a heist. She'd jumped ship, her mind into my body. Mine shoved into. What? A shell? A backup? My hands trembled as I gripped the table edge, knuckles white. You did this. You stole me. Her eyes, my eyes, now narrowed. Stole? I saved us. You ungrateful glitch. The feds were closing in on the fraud, those offshore accounts, the insider trades. I needed a clean vessel. Young. Untainted. You were perfect. She stepped closer. The scent of my Chanel no. 5 wafting off me. But you're unraveling. Flashing back to my memories. My regrets. It's only a matter of time before the seams split. The room erupted then, shouts. Lila dialing 911. Uncle Ted bellowing for security. But I didn't hear them. All I saw was Evelyn in my skin, smirking like she'd just closed the deal of the century. All I felt was the fire building, not in my chest, but in the marrow of these borrowed bones. Revenge? It wasn't a plan yet. It was instinct. Primal. American as apple pie and a loaded Glock. I reached for the candelabra, its flames dancing like imps in my peripheral. Heavy silver, engraved with the Harper crest, a phoenix rising, mocking me now. You want to know what I deserve? I whispered, voice steady for the first time. Then I swung. The crash was symphonic, crystal shattering, flames leaping to the linen like it was kindling. Screams pierced the air as fire raced toward the drapes. The priceless Rothko on the wall. Evelyn me lunged, but I was faster, shoving her back into the cake, frosting exploding like a gut wound. That's for Dad, I snarled. For the lies. For stealing my life. Security swarmed, tasers humming, but not before the sprinklers kicked in, dousing us all in a biblical deluge. Chaos reigned, relatives fleeing, Lila's scream cutting through the wail of alarms. As they wrestled me down, zip ties biting into my wrists, Evelyn straightened, my face smeared with buttercream, her eyes wild with something like admiration. Or fear. You always were the fighter, she said, water streaming down my cheeks, her cheeks. But this body, it's mine now. And I'll bury you in it. They dragged me out into the night, the paparazzi flashes blinding as squad cars screeched up. Assault. Arson. Attempted murder, if the tabloids spun it right. But as the cuffs clicked, a cold clarity settled. I'd lost my body, my name, my future. But I had her secrets now, flashing like corrupted files in my skull. The fraud. The offshore shells in the Caymans. The lab in Jersey where Dr. Kessler had played God with our souls. And Kessler? He wasn't just a scientist. He was her lover. The father I'd never known. The man who'd greenlit the swap to cover their tracks. Betrayal didn't get deeper than that. In the back of the cruiser, rain sluicing down the windows like tears I couldn't shed, I made my first controversial call. No lawyer. No plea. I'd take the fall for now. Let them think me broken. The glitch unraveling. But glitches evolve. They adapt. They strike back. By dawn, I was in Rikers, processed as Vivian Harper, irony thick as the bleach stench. The guards leered. The other inmates sized me up like fresh meat. But in the dim fluorescent buzz of intake, I felt it, the echo of Evelyn's power. Her ruthlessness, coiling in my veins. She'd given me her mind's shadows. I'd used them to drag her into the light. First move, find Kessler. He was the key, the architect of this nightmare. Word in the yard was he'd vanished after the leak, holed up in a safe house upstate. But Evelyn's memories betrayed him, a cabin in the Catskills, stocked with off-grid tech and enough bourbon to drown regrets. I needed out.
Fast.
Rikers wasn't Shawshank, it was a pressure cooker for the connected. But I had assets, hidden ones. A burner phone smuggled in by a guard I'd charmed with Evelyn's old line about incentives. One call to a low-level exec still loyal to the old me. Wire it.
Now.
20 grand hit an untraceable account by noon. Bribe money. The kind of controversial decision that'd make ACLU lawyers weep. But freedom's not free. especially when your body's a prison. That night, lights out, I lay on the slab bunk, staring at cracks in the ceiling that mapped like neural pathways. Dad's accident replayed, not the official story. The one Evelyn fed the cops about black ice.
No.
The truth. He'd found her ledgers. Confronted her in that rain-lashed car. She'd grabbed the wheel. Just a twitch.
Enough.
I'd taken the hit then. 2. Lied to the investigators. Said it was his fault. Family first. Blood thicker than. Whatever this swap had made us. Sleep came fitful. Dreams bleeding her life into mine. Boardroom coups. Lovers discarded like failed trials. The day she'd signed my birth certificate with a flourish. Already plotting my role as spare parts. Morning brought the shank. A razor blade wrapped in soap. Courtesy of my bribe. Not for violence yet. For leverage. In the showers, steam thick as secrets, I cornered the block boss. A lifer named Rita, with tattoos snaking up her arms like barbed wire. I need a favor, I said, flashing the blade just enough. And you'll want one from me. Rita eyed me, water beading on her buzz cut. Fancy bitch like you? What's a Harper want with me? Extraction. I leaned in, voice a conspirator's whisper. And when I'm out, you get a new life. Papers.
Cash.
Pick your poison. She laughed. But it was interested. Body swap bullshit? Heard the news. Your ma says you're a fake. That true? Truer than you'd believe. I pressed the blades flat to her palm. A promise. Deal. By week 2, the plan hummed. Rita's crew ran interference, faked fights, diverted guards while I worked the phones. Kessler's number burning in my brain from Evelyn's recall. He picked up on the 3rd ring. Voice gravel over static. Who is this? The glitch, I said. And I'm coming for you. Silence. Then a chuckle like breaking glass. Evelyn?
No.
The echo.
How?
Turns out, your text got leaks. Like everything else you touch. I paused, letting the line crackle. Meet me. Or I go public with the logs. The ones showing you fathered the heir and fried her brain to save your ass. He hung up. But I had his location now, triangulated by a hacker kid in Gen Pop who'd owed Rita. Catskills. Coordinates etched in my mind. Escape night, lockdown drill. Sirens blaring like banshees. Rita's girl slipped me a guard's uniform. Stiff with starch and sin. Heart pounding. I melted into the shadows. Past the yard where inmates catcalled the stars. Freedom tasted like rust and rain. The bus to Port Authority was a blur of fluorescent hell. Every bump a jolt to my stolen nerves. I ditched the uniform in a Starbucks bathroom, emerging in jeans and a hoodie that smelled of someone else's desperation. Uber to the Greyhound station, cash only.
No traces.
Upstate bound. The city lights faded like dying embers. Evelyn would be spinning damage control by now, press releases calling me disturbed, shrinks diagnosing delusions. Let her. The real delusion was thinking she could outrun her own shadow. The cabin loomed at mile marker 47. A squat Adirondack shake shingle buried in pine. Generator humming like a guilty conscience. Dawn broke bloody as I approached. Gravel crunching under my sneakers.
Door Eier Schluppy.
For a genius. Kessler sat at a scarred pine table. Laptop open to schematics that made my stomach twist. Cortical bridges. Synaptic firewalls. The blueprint of our theft. He was older than Evelyn's memories, 65. Maybe. With a face like weathered granite, eyes the color of dirty dishwater. Vivian, he said. Not rising. No fear. Just calculation. Or Evelyn's ghost. Call me the reckoning. I slid into the chair opposite. Knife from the shank job palmed in my sleeve. Undo it. He steepled fingers. Wedding band glinting. Evelyn's doing. A sham to keep him close.
Can't.
The bridge burned on upload. You're hybrid now. Her echoes in your meat suit. My daughters and mine. He paused. Lips thinning.
Wait.
You don't know.
Daughter.
The word detonated. Flashes. Lab delivery room. Not a hospital. Harper's black site. Evelyn. Post-fraud bust. 9 months along with Kessler's bastard.
Not me.
A decoy. The real Vivian. Born to take the fall.
You.
I'm not. Rage boiled. Black and viscous. The knife was out before I thought. Tip kissing his jugular. Fix it. Or I carve the truth from your throat. He didn't flinch. Kill me, and you're stuck. But help me, we swap back. Evelyn's hoarding the backups in the Manhattan vault. We hit it. Reverse the flow. Controversial? Hell yes. Ally with the devil who sired me into this mess? But the alternative was eternity as her echo. I lowered the blade. Partners? Till the end. His smile was a fracture. We plotted over cold coffee, heist the vault, neural dive to disentangle our minds. Risky, 50-50 on psychosis or death. But death was better than this half-life. By dusk, we were rolling south, his old Subaru rattling like bones. New York swallowed us. Skyscrapers clawing the sky. Harper Tower loomed, a glass monolith where her empire pulsed. Infiltration. Kessler's old keycard. Glitchy, but gold. Elevators whispered us to sublevel 7. The vault a Faraday cage humming with forbidden futures. Guards? Bribed with Kessler's slush fund. Ghosts in the machine. The pod waited. 2 recliners. For drips snaking like veins. Monitors beeping a dirge. I stripped to the gown. Heart a war drum. If this fries us, it won't.
Lie.
But lies were our currency. Strapped in, needles biting, the world dissolved. Code reigned, zeros and ones birthing ghosts. Evelyn's voice echoed. Fight it.
Glitch.
You're nothing without me. But I was more. Her ruthlessness. My fire. We plunged. The neural dive hit like a freight train doped on Red Bull, colors bleeding into screams. Memories unspooling like 8mm film in a hurricane. 1 second. I'm Vivian at 16. Sneaking Marlboros behind the prep school gym. Dreaming of biotech glory to spite Evelyn's endless not good enoughs. The next. I'm her Evelyn at 25. In that Jersey lab. Pipette in hand. Kessler's hand on her thigh under the bench. Whispering about patents and passion. We build empires.
Eve.
Together.
Lies.
All of it. The dive stripped the varnish. Their affair started as ambition. Ended as arson. Dad found out not just the cheating, but the embezzlement. Harper Dynamics' first big score. Fudging Phase 2 trials on a cancer drug. Pocketing kickbacks from big pharma rivals. He'd threatened to blow the whistle. Evelyn's twitch on the parkway? No accident. She dosed his scotch with roofies first. Then yanked the wheel. Clean kill.
Pinned on him.
And me, the original Vivian, their loved child, born in secrecy to humanize the brand. The perfect cover, Kessler's echoes sneered in the code storm. They'd groomed her, me, as the golden child. But when the feds circled post, 2008 crash, Evelyn needed an out. Swap the innocent daughter into a fabricated shell. Let her rot for the fraud. My body young, clean for her escape. But the tech glitched. Kessler's hack to cover traces left echoes, her regrets bleeding into my scan. My fire into hers. That's why she clocked it at dinner. The flinch when Uncle Ted mentioned Dad's accident. The way I savored risk she loathed. In the pod, monitors wailed, vitals spiking, synapses firing like a New Year's blackout. Kessler's voice cut through. Digitized and distant. Stabilize. Focus on the anchor, your core memory.
Mine?
Not birthdays or boardrooms. The night Evelyn locked me in the basement during a hurricane. Age 10. Screaming I was just like your father, weak. I'd pried the door with a coat hanger, rain lashing my face, vowing I'd never bend again. Anchor locked. The code parted, threads of self weaving back. Pain bloomed, white hot, biblical but then release. Evelyn's fury surged, a tidal wave of boardroom bloodbaths and bedroom betrayals. I fought, not with fists, but will, shoving her echoes into voids, reclaiming neurons inch by bloody inch. Alarms shrieked, guards inbound, vault doors hissing open. Kessler yanked the IVs, monitors flatlining in protest. It's partial, he gasped, face ashen.
You're.
Mostly you. But she's still in there. Fragments. I sat up, limbs leaden, tasting copper. My reflection in the pod glass, my face, my eyes, Vivian's, the real ones.
28.
Unlined.
Fierce.
But shadows lurked, Evelyn's smirk ghosting my lips. Good enough. I ripped the gown, dressing in scrubs from a locker. We done. Almost. He palmed a drive, the full logs. Unredacted. Insurance. Gunfire cracked the hall. Security. Loyal to her. Kessler shoved me toward the service duct.
Go.
I'll hold.
No.
Controversial again. Leave the devil to die? Or drag him? I hauled him up. His arms slung over my shoulder. Dead weight. We crawled, ducks clanging like a bad hangover, emerging in the loading bay amid crates of experimental vials. The chase was pure adrenaline porn, tires squealing out of the garage. NYPD cruisers lighting up Broadway like a rave. Kessler drove, wild-eyed, barking coordinates for a chopper pad in Jersey. Black site, he yelled over sirens. Backup pod there. Full reversal. I clutched the dash. Evelyn's echoes whispering sabotage. Let him crash. End it clean.
But no.
Revenge wasn't sloppy. It was surgical. We ditched the Subaru in a warehouse district, stealing a panel van from a florist, irony. Pedals crushed underfoot as we peeled out. Radio blared the story. Harper heiress in custody after arson rampage. Mental breakdown suspected. Evelyn spin. Already. My face, hers, plastered nationwide. The glitch painted as psycho. Upstate again. The black site, a derelict mill by the Hudson. Chain link sagging like a drunk's grin. Dusk bled purple as we breached. Kessler's code cracking the locks. Inside, dust motes dancing in shafts of light. Consoles humming on emergency juice. The pod waited. Twin to the vault's sterile sarcophagus. Last chance, he said, strapping in. Full swap risks total wipe. You sure? Her voice slithered up my throat. He's lying. Always does. But I saw it in his eyes, regret, raw as road rash. For the real Vivian? Yeah. Needles again. Cold fire in veins. Dive deeper this time. No safety net. Memories collided. My prom night kiss stolen by a lacrosse bro. Her first kill, not dad, but a rival exec. Poison in his scotch at a gala. Toasted as heart attack. Buried secrets unburying. The real Vivian. Their daughter. Wasn't innocent. She'd known the fraud. Laundered cash through her charity foundation for at-risk girls. Took the fall willingly. To protect mom's legacy.
Wait. What?
The code fractured. Kessler's truth beaming in. She volunteered.
Eve.
Our girl. Said you'd crumble without the company.
I
pushed the swap to save you both. But it backfired. Lies within lies. Rage hers. Mine ignited. I yanked the threads. Not disentangling, but fusing. No swap back. Integration. Become the hybrid horror she'd fear.
Eject.
Gasping, I clawed free. Kessler slumped. Monitors flat.
Dead?
Or played possum. Didn't matter. Drive in pocket. I torched the site. Matches from the van. Flames devouring the mill like Judgment Day. Back in the city by midnight. Ghosting through alleys to a safe house Kessler's echoes supplied. A walk-up in Hell's Kitchen. Walls papered in yellowed takeout menus. Laptop fired up. Logs uploading to WikiLeaks. Tor outed. Evelyn's empire. Fraud docs. Swap schematics. Dad's talks report showing the roofies. Bombs away. By morning, the net exploded. CNBC looping. Harper Dynamics implodes. CEO's daughter exposes decades of deception. Stock plummeted. Fed's rating tower. Evelyn in my old body. The partial swaps remnant. On every feed. Disheveled. Denying.
Fabrication.
My daughter's unstable. But the echoes? They let me mimic her perfectly. I called the board from a burner. Voice her velvet trap. Gentlemen. Convene emergency session.
I've
reconsidered succession. They bit. Midtown boardroom. Glass walls fogged with tension. Suits sweating bullets. I strode in, Vivian Harper. Reborn hybrid. Evelyn's poise in my stride. Mother stepping down, I announced. Projector flickering with the logs. For health reasons. Murmurs. Then her, barging in, flanked by lawyers. My face twisted in fury. You, the glitch. Security, but the board had seen enough. Votes cast. Shares dumped. By lunch, I was interim CEO. Controversial? Appointing myself executioner. That night, alone in the penthouse, hers, now mine, I poured scotch.
Neat.
Echoes whispered, she's coming. End it.
She did.
Elevator dinged at 2 a.m. Evelyn slipping in like a specter. Gun in purse, Kessler's Beretta. I'd bet. Clever girl, she said, my old body moving with her grace. But hybrids break. We circled the living room. Central Park a black void beyond the windows. You made me, I said. Ruthless.
Cunning.
Ready to burn it all. She drew.
Slow.
Then burn. I lunged, not for the gun, but the balcony door. Wind howled as I dragged her out. Over the rail. City lights, a glittering abyss 30 stories down. For Dad.
For the real me.
For everything you stole. Her eyes, my eyes, widened. Vivian. Wait.
Push.
But at the edge. Twist. She twisted back. Stronger in youth. We teetered. Her nails raking my arm. Gun clattering to the void. You think you're free? She hissed. I'm in you. Always. Truth reversed. The swap wasn't theft. It was merger. The real Vivian had initiated it. Dying in the pod. Her last act uploading to save Mom. I was the echo constructed from scans, fleshed with Evelyn's sins to fool the world.
No.
Hybrid lies. I headbutt, stars exploding, and she slipped, screaming my name as she fell. Sirens wailed below. I backed in, bloodied.
Alive.
Free or damned. Board meeting at dawn. I took the gavel. Voice steady. New era. But in the mirror later, her smirk lingered. Revenge tasted like victory. Or poison. The fallout hit like a Category 5 through Wall Street, traders shorting Harper stock before the opening bell. Headlines screaming, Dynasty of Deceit, inside the Harper body swap scandal. Pundits on Fox and MSNBC dissected it like a frog in bio class. Was it sci-fi hubris or just another rich bitch power grab? Conspiracy nuts on X lit up with glitch Vivian. Memes of me as a possessed Barbie. Evelyn as the witch from Oz. By noon, class action suits piled up like junk mail. The SEC's hounds baying at the gates. I played the part. Poised presser in the tower lobby. Flanked by PR sharks in $1,000 suits. Harper Dynamics remains committed to ethical innovation, I intoned. Evelyn's boardroom baritone laced with my grit. These allegations are under investigation. We ask for privacy during this difficult time. Cameras flashed. Reporters shouted. MS. Harper, did your mother murder your father? Is the swap tech real? I smiled. Mona Lisa cool. And said nothing. Let them chase shadows.
Inside. Though?
The hybrid churned. Her echoes weren't passive anymore. They prodded. Like fingers in a fresh wound. Sloppy.
Viv.
You left Kessler's body. DNA traces. I torched the mill. Sure. But forensics were vultures. And the gun? Her prints on the Beretta? Tumbled into the East River. But if divers pulled it? No time for ghosts. First order, stabilize the ship. I locked the C-suite in conference room Alpha, marble expanse with a view of the Chrysler Building's spitting gargoyles, and laid down the law. No leaks. No resignations. We're pivoting to transparency. Open source the neural tech. Audits on every trial. Murmurs rippled. Risky? Suicidal even. Expose the crown jewels? But it was the play. Bleed the poison. Regrow stronger. Controversial as hell. But in America, redemption arc sell. CFO Jenkins. A balding weasel with a comb-over like a bad toupee.
Balked.
Vivian. This. Interim CEO Harper. I corrected. Her ice in my tone. And you'll comply. Or join the logs in discovery. He paled. Nodding. By end of day. We'd issued the press release. Harper Dynamics to donate swap tech IP to public domain. Stock dipped 5%. Then rebounded on the heroic spin. Suckers. Night fell sticky. Humidity pressing like a guilty conscience. The penthouse felt hollow without her, Evelyn's ghost in every Lalique vase. Every abstract Basquiat screaming silent accusations. I poured bourbon from her decanter. Neat. And scrolled the feeds. Tributes to the real Vivian. Obits piecing her My Life. Valedictorian at Spence. Wharton MBA. The philanthropist who'd funnel dirty money to shelters while betting Kessler's TA for extra cred. Twist nod. Was I her daughter? Or a digital Frankenstein stitched from scans? The real Vivian's core memory. Uploading willingly. Whispering save her. Dad. Felt borrowed. Like a coat too tight. But the fire? That was mine. The intern who'd spiked her heels on shattered glass to chase a breakthrough. Bleeding for patents she'd never see. Phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered. Bourbon burning. Harper. Glitch. Kessler's voice. Reedy but alive. You left me for dead.
Bastard.
Thought fire suited you. Regeneration. Remember? Backup clone low-res. But functional. Laughter like gravel in a blender. Need your help. Evelyn's not done. Chilled. I gripped the glass. Fell 30 stories. Splattered. Contingency. Her mind's forked. Uploaded to a shell corp server pre-fall. She's rebuilding. Digital phantom. Targeting the board. You're bored. Paranoia spiked. Her echoes cackling.
Told you. Sloppy.
Where? Silicon Valley black site. Ex-Google was kids. Moonlighting on neural nets. Coordinates incoming. Controversial crossroads. Trust the snake who sired this mess? Or let Evelyn 2.0 ghost in and gut me? Why help?
Pause.
Heavy.
Guilt. And.
You're my legacy. Both of you. Text pinged. Map to Palo Alto bunker. I booked the red eye. Private jet on the company card. Perks of the throne.
En route.
Over the Rockies' jagged teeth. I dove the drive's logs on my tablet. Buried deep, the original swap contract. Signed in blood red ink. Real Vivian's addendum. In event of failure. Merge protocols. No reversals. Family forever. Forever. The words soured the bourbon's aftertaste. Palo Alto dawned smoggy. Teslas zipping like caffeinated ants. The bunker was a nondescript strip mall, sandwiched between a vape shop and a boba joint, peak Cali camouflage. Back door buzzed me in. Retinal scan glitching on my hybrid eyes before yielding. Kessler waited in a server farm, humming with blue LEDs. His clone, body a wiry facsimile, same granite face, but softer, like cheap marble. Progress. I asked. No hello. Traced her fork. She's puppeteering a proxy, Jenkins. Your CFO. Microneural implant. Post-board meeting. He's leaking to shorts. Son of a Jenkins. The weasel. I'd smelled the rat. But this? Puppet strings from the grave. Cut it. Can't without the kill code. In her core fragment, guarded by firewalls laced with your memories. Dive with me. Another plunge? My gut twisted. Risky. Life's a beta test. His grin. Paternal almost.
Creepy.
The rig was jury-rigged. VR goggles. Haptic gloves. For drip of nootropics that tasted like battery acid. Strapped in. World melted to code rain. Kessler's avatar materialized. Ghostly professor. Chalk dust on sleeves. Follow the breadcrumbs. Her echoes are yours, use them. We swam the net. Data streams parting like red sea pixels. Evelyn's fortress loomed, a crystalline maze. Walls etched with my R milestones. First steps in the brownstone nursery. First betrayal. Dad's funeral. Her whispering he was weak, don't be. Deeper, the swap chamber. Real Vivian's eyes locking on mine across the glass. Mouthing, I love you, Mom. Tears in code, glitchy. We breached. Alarms wailing binary. Her avatar coalesced Evelyn. Regal in pearl gray. My young face twisted demonic.
Daughters.
Come to play. Kessler lunged digital. But she swatted him like a fly. His avatar fragmenting. You built this, she sneered at me. My fire in your shell. Join. Or burn. Fight or fold. I chose hybrid hell. Merged threads. Pulling her code into mine. Pain lanced, synapses screaming, but power surged. Kill code extracted. A simple string. Family forever.
Eject.
Gasping in the bunker. I slammed the console. Done. Kessler stirred.
Whole.
Proxy dead. Jenkins? He'll wake with a headache and a resignation letter. I stood.
Shaky. Now.
The real end. Back in New York by dusk. Jet lag a dull throb. Jenkins waited in my office. Twitchy. Implant scar fresh on his temple. Vivian. Save it. I played the log. His voice. Hers. Plotting my ouster.
Resign.
Or jail. He bolted. Tears streaming. By midnight, the board ratified me permanent CEO. Stock soared 10 points on the stability narrative. But victory soured at home. Echoes louder now, Evelyn's laugh in my throat during calls. Her paranoia in my dreams. They're coming for you. Like they did me. Worse, a package. Unmarked. On the penthouse stoop. Inside, a neural drive. Labeled Vivian's Truth. Plugged in. Video bloomed. Real Vivian.
Pre-swap.
In the lab. If you're watching, it's me, the original. Mom's right. The company's rotten. But don't destroy it. Reform it. For the girls like us, poor, scrappy, scheming to survive. Tears hot. She'd built the charity reel. Funneled clean cash to Jersey trailers like Evelyn's old one. Her crime? Loyalty. Mine? Vengeance. Controversial pivot. I greenlit the open source. But, twisted, pair it with scholarships. Neural tech for public good. Board balked. But I held the logs. Their poison. My cure. Still. Nights alone. Bourbon my confessor. I wondered. Was the fall her suicide? Or my murder? And Kessler's calls, weekly now. Progress checks, reeked of strings. Then, the stalker. Shadows in the lobby. A figure in hoodie tailing my runs in the park. Paparazzi? Or her ghost? Reformed in flesh? One fog-shrouded morning. He cornered me on the reservoir path, Kessler. In the flesh. No clone. We need to talk. About the merger. Gun in his coat. Step back. Not till you see. He tossed a file, DNA printout. You're not hybrid. You're her, the original. Evelyn swapped you out post-upload. Slotted a blank into your body. I fixed it in the dive. You're Vivian. Always were.
Lie.
Truth reversed again. Rage boiled. Why now? Her fork's active.
In you?
No, in the company. AI ghost. Burrowing into the servers. Paranoia peaked. I fired, missed. Birdshot from a purse derringer. He fled, laughing. Bored that day, I purged the C-suite, installing loyalists. Controversial? Mass firings, whispers of witch hunt. But necessary. Evening brought the dream, Evelyn.
Real.
In the Parkway rain, will in hand. Push.
Viv.
Or be pushed. I woke screaming, sheets soaked. Time for the climax. The boardroom purge sent shockwaves through the canyons of Midtown, execs carted out in Ubers, signing NDAs thicker than their severance checks. Whispers of Vivian's reign of terror snaking through happy hours at the Polo Lounge. CNBC dubbed it the Harper Reckoning, panels debating if I was savior or tyrant. Feminists hailed the scholarship pivot, Girlboss 2.0, while conservatives frothed about woke overreach and corporate socialism.
Me?
I sipped espresso in the corner office, formerly Evelyn's, watching the chaos like a god on Valium. But godhood chafed. The echoes had evolved not just whispers, but directives. Fire Jenkins harder. Crush the shorts. Her ruthlessness bleeding into my reforms, twisting scholarships into recruitment pipelines for cheap lab rats. I'd catch myself mid-meeting, voice dipping into her gravel, efficiency over empathy. The board noticed, eyes darting like I might sprout horns. Kessler's truth festered. I hired a private eye ex-FBI, the kind who moonlighted for mob widows, to tail him. Report came encrypted. Kessler holed up in a Queens motel, meeting shifty types in lab coats. Blueprints exchanged for duffels of cash. Selling the tech or building an army of ghosts? Controversial call. Confront. I drove myself, Beamer purring like a panther, through Queens' neon haze. Past halal carts and check-cashing joints that screamed Evelyn's Jersey roots. Motel was a roach trap. Neon vacancy flickering like a seizure. Room 12. Door ajar. TV droning infomercials. He sat on the sagging bed. Pizza box open. Grease stains mapping his shirt like abstract art. Knew you'd come. Cut the Oracle Act. I slammed the file down. PI's photos. Grainy but damning. Selling forks? After your legacy bullshit. He shrugged, folding a slice. Survival. Feds froze my assets. And Evelyn's ghost? It's in the wild now, forked to dark web brokers. Immortal. Baby. Chills spidered my spine. Fix it.
Can't.
But you can. He booted a laptop. Screen blooming with code I half recognized, our neural map. Vivisected. The merger left a backdoor.
Your core's the key. Dive solo.
Seal it. Alone? In this dump? Why believe you? 'Cause you're me, us. Ruthless enough to end it. His eyes. Mirror of mine.
Softened.
Vivian. The original died clean. No pain. I watched. For her, for you, I pulled the plug. Tears pricked. Unbidden. Liar. Test me. He slid a syringe across the bed, truth serum. Black market special. Ask. I jabbed it home. Watched him slump. Questions tumbled. Did she kill Dad?
Nod.
Roofies. Wheel. Clean. The swap willing? Another nod. Real Viv begged. Save Mom. Legacy. And me. Skin echo. But alive. Real. Enough. I yanked the rig from his kit, makeshift. Wires frayed like nerves and jacked in. No pod luxury, just laptop hum and motel AC rattling like bones. Code swallowed me. Raw, no buffers. Just void. Evelyn waited. Avatar queen on a throne of ones and zeros.
Daughter.
Come home. Not yours. I charged. Code tendrils lashing. Her fortress cracked. Memories spilling. The Jersey trailer. Her clawing from poverty with stolen lab notes. Dad's proposal on Coney Island. Ring from a gumball machine. My real Viv's birth. Her holding me. Whispering, empire's yours. Lies laced with truth. You ruined us, I snarled. Shredding walls. We built. She countered. Flooding me with power, deal closing highs. Lovers' nights.
Join.
Rule. Temptation nod. Hybrid high. Her cunning. My heart. But the real Viv's plea echoed. Reform. I dove deeper. Finding the fork's heart, a pulsing server node in some Shenzhen basement. Kill code primed. Family forever, reversed, revorfemilf. Slam. Her avatar shattered. Scream Dopplering to static. Backlash hit. Pain like crown of thorns. Echoes convulsing. Eject, sprawling on the carpet. Vomitous sneer. Kessler loomed. Syringe in hand antidote. Or end.
Done.
Ghosts gone. I gasped. World tilting. He helped me up. Grip firm. Good girl. Then the twist. Needle in my neck. World blacking. Woke strapped to a gurney in a van. Bouncing over potholes. What? Insurance, he said. Driving. You're the perfect vessel now. Echoes purged?
No.
Enhanced. Evelyn's fork was decoy. The real one's in you. My design.
Bastard.
The truth serum? Placebo. His plan. Use me as broodmare for a neural dynasty. Clone army of Harpers. Controversial fury. I twisted. Zip ties biting. But the van swerved his clone body. Low-res. Glitching. I kicked the dash. Sparks flying. Will locking. Crash. Metal scream.
Glass rain.
We spun into a ditch. Hudson's black mole yawning. Free. I crawled. Blood hot. He pursued. Shambling. Vivian. Gun from the glove box, mine. The Derringer. Legacy ends here.
Bang.
He dropped. Eyes wide, surprise. Then nothing. Cops came with dawn. Story spun. Self-defense.
Stalker.
Body count. 2. If you counted Evelyn. Feds bought it. Too busy dismantling Harper's skeletons. Back in the tower. Reforms accelerated. Tech donated. Scholarships exploding. Thousands of Jersey girls in labs. Coding their futures. But the board eyed me wary. Whispers of unstable nights. The penthouse echoed empty. No bourbon, green juice now. Her poison purged? Or dormant?
Then.
The letter. Handwritten. Postmarked Caymans. Dearest Viv, if you're reading this, I won. The fall?
Staged.
Bungee rig. Old trick. Body double for the splat. Join me? Or burn alone? Love. Mom. Twist reversed. She lived. Hybrid queen. Exiled but scheming. Climax brood. I booked a jet, private. Untraceable. Caymans called. Beaches white as surrender. Waters hiding ledgers and lies. Confrontation on 7 Mile Beach. Sunset bleeding red. She waited in a cabana. My old body tanned. Bikini sharp. Daughter. Thief. gun in my beach bag. But no controversial mercy or end. We talked till stars pricked. Her regrets. Real Viv's dreams. Merge proper, she urged. Rule together. Tempted. But the real legacy? Break the cycle. I walked away, gun undrawn. Reform's mine. Her laugh followed. You'll call. Blood calls. Back in New York. Company thrived, ethical. Explosive. But dreams? Her voice, come home. The debate, victory, or endless war. Months blurred into a fevered dream of reinvention. Harper Dynamics rebranded as Nexus Bioforge, shedding the old skin like a snake too tight. The open-source neural tech sparked a revolution. Indie hackers in Brooklyn garages prototyping mind maps for PTSD vets. Silicon Valley bros chasing consciousness apps for burnout execs. My scholarships hit critical mass, 10,000 girls from trailer parks to tenements. Laptops in hand, dissecting code that once built empires on bones. The press crowned me, the redemption Harper. Times cover a stylized neural net with my face at the nexus. Tagline, from glitch to goddess. Goddess. The irony curdled my kale smoothies. If they knew the hybrid under the highlights reel, the way Evelyn's echoes ghosted my TED Talks, her baritone slipping in to gut-check a soft pitch. Weak.
Crush them.
I'd pause. Smile tighter. Pivot to empowerment metrics. The board lapped it up. Stock hitting all-time highs. But their eyes lingered, watching for the crack. The unraveling. Kessler's body? Buried in a potter's field upstate. No stone. No service. The van crash ruled tragic accident, his prince tying loose ends to the fraud.
Clean.
But his legacy gift lingered, a thumb drive in my safe. Labeled contingencies. Cracked at one sleepless 3 a.m. Bourbon whispering alibis. Blueprints for full forks, digital immortality. Kessler's wet dream. Temptation throbbed.
Upolat?
Become eternal. Outrun her shadow?
No.
Controversial torch. I leaked it to rivals Pfizer, Roche, letting them race to ethical ruin while I fortified Nexus with kill switches. Open but leashed. The stalker returned. Sutler, emails from ghosts. At caymansfork.com. Subject, blood calls. Evelyn's taunt. Laced with intel board moles. Short seller plots. Gifts followed. A locket with real Viv's baby photo. Note. Remember who you are. Hybrid heart twisted love. Or lure. I hired muscle. XSLS in tailored blacks. Shadowing my runs. Vetting deliveries. Paranoid? Evelyn's echo agreed. Smart. But the real me, the original's fire, chafed at the cage. America wasn't built on bunkers, it was Wild West. Draw first. Climax brewed in the Cayman's heat. Unbidden. Quarterly retreat. Board offsite on Grand Cayman. Team building on catamarans and conch fritters. I flew commercial. Coach. Even. To stay grounded. But the air thickened on descent. Humidity hugging like a threat. Villa was paradise poison. Infinity pools spilling into turquoise. Palms rustling secrets. Day 1, trust falls and vision quests. Me and Linen shift. Nodding through synergy circles. Night 1, dinner under stars. Jerk chicken sizzling. When she appeared. Not crashing gates, slipping in like smoke. My old body poured into a sundress. Hair loose. No Botox mask. The board gasped. Forks clattering. My seals tensed. Hands inching to holsters. Easy, I said. Voice steady, mine. All mine. Family reunion. She smiled. That predator curve. Missed you. Viv. We cleared the deck. Board herded inside with promises of private chat, leaving us on the terrace. Waves crashing judgment. Gun in my clutch. But holstered. Staged fall. Body double.
Q.
Resourceful. She sipped rum punch. Ice clinking like chains. The fork was bluff. Test your steel. You passed. Liar. I stepped close. Salt wind whipping. The merger's real. I feel you every boardroom flinch. Every night terror. Her eyes, my eyes, softened. Almost human. Good. We're stronger twinned. Dad was weak, Kessler a fool. But us? Unstoppable. Flash. Real Viv's upload. Her hand on glass. Not begging, commanding. Merge deep.
Mom.
For the girls. No half measures. Truth reverse final. The swap was an escape. It was evolution. Real Viv orchestrated it, diagnosed terminal from a lab mishap. She'd coded the hybrid herself, fusing us to lead. Legacy, she'd whispered in the logs. Not blood. Fire. Tears stung. See spray or not. Why hide?
Test.
Could you burn without breaking? Evelyn mom reached. Hand on mine.
Warm.
Real.
Join.
Or let the shorts win. Controversial apex. Gun drawn.
Slow.
Board watching from windows. Seals frozen. Pull trigger? End the cycle in blood? Or holster? Merge proper. Reform with ruthlessness? Waves roared answer. I squeezed, click. Empty chamber.
Bluff.
Her laugh bubbled.
Relieved.
Knew it. Embrace then. Awkward as thorns. My body fitting like puzzle lost. Partners? Till the end. Back in New York. The merger hummed. Reforms radicalized. Scholarships weaponized into a network, global. Unbreakable. Nexus soared. But scandals simmered. Whispers of Cosio shadows, me glitching mid-speech. Her voice bleeding through. Ending? Debatable. Happy. Empire redeemed. Girls rising. Tragic. Hybrid horror. Us devouring each other from inside. Readers argue in comments. Villain or visionary?
Me?
I run the park at dawn. Echoes harmonizing her cunning. My fire. Real Viv's dream. Blood calls. And I answer. But in the quiet. Bourbon's ghost. I wonder. Who sits at the table now?
Us.
Or nothing.